Welcome. Glad to be back in the game. You know, the thing about this time of year, it's just, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like getting in a car, taking a long trip, 8 or 9 hour trip, and after 30 minutes, kids say, I need to use the bathroom. That's kind of what open date is this early in the season. You kind of get going, next thing you know, you're stopping, then you get going again. The fortunate thing, I think, for us, though, is that, it's an in-state game, and it's a conference game. Anytime we play anybody in the state of Texas, I consider it a conference game because, we know each other, they know us, we know them. I really don't know the stats for sure, but I would say over the last 4 to 5 years that Rice is probably one of the most successful teams in the state of Texas, certainly in the top 2 or 3, with number of wins, conference championships, and the job that David Baylor has done there over the last 9 years is borderline phenomenal. I think they won their first conference championship a couple years ago, maybe in 55, 56 years. So just a tremendous job by a tremendous person. I've known David for many, many years, Texas high school coach, Texas high school player, and a native Texan as myself. So he's a guy I have a whole lot of respect for. Guys on his staff, Larry Hofer, I've known since I was 5. We both grew up in Abilene together, and there's not a better man on the earth. Coached here with us at Baylor. Actually was on the Baylor staff when I got here and retained him, and he's just done a great job everywhere. His coaching safety is there. Chris Thurman, who's the defense coordinator, Rice, was on my staff at Houston, for a couple, 3 years. Great man, great coach. He's done an outstanding job. And then, ironically, Sam Bennett is a GA on their staff, Coach Bennett's son. So, we're tied in pretty deep with those guys, and they do a tremendous job. The guys play extremely hard, extremely well coached. Just a very disciplined team that plays with a lot of aggression and confidence, and that's really the thing that jumps out on you when you watch them on tape. So it's a tremendous challenge for us. I'm excited about the 2 p.m. kickoff. I like playing in the afternoon, especially, this time of year. I think it'll be a great day for our fans. Hopefully the weather will be nice, the river will be full, fans will be excited, and we can get a big conference win. So that's kind of leading up to the game, getting ready to roll. Any questions?
John Warner, Waco Trip. Art, your last non-conference game before starting Big 12. What are some areas you'd like to maybe see polished up coming in?
Well, we do consider it a conference game, but on record it's not. But, I think there's just so many things to polish up, John, that, I wouldn't really know where to start. Start with coaching. We got to coach better. We got to be situationally better, both sides of the ball. Special teams have been okay. A couple of times we've had a punt roll to the 1. We fielded a punt on the 7, in the first game. So we've had a couple of things in that area, but it's got to be cleaner. We got to be cleaner. We hadn't been a clean football team. I still think we're looking for our identity offensively. I knew it would take 3 or 4 games. We don't have 3 or 4 games anymore. We got 1, 2, and we're on. The thing that happened to us against Lamar that I've never had happen, I don't believe, and I'm just going off memory, certainly off fact, but have 3 turnovers in a quarter and score 21 points in a quarter is very unusual. It's just very unusual. We had 6 possessions, 3 of them turnovers, 3 of them touchdowns, and never had that happen. So as bad, like I said, as good as we were good in some areas, we were as bad also. And so what we've got to be is just more consistent. So you're asking me, what should we work on? I would just say consistency, across the board.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Art, you guys are averaging 350 rushing yards a game, right up there with Georgia Tech, Air Force, teams that run that option type ball. What's just been the key to the success of the running game, and have you liked what you've seen there?
Well, we've liked it. It's still early, Bryce, as you know. So I think stats can be looked at, at different levels throughout the season. I still think it's early and really judging where we're at as an offense. I think as we get a little deeper into the schedule, I think those things will be a little more realistic. But, yeah, I think we got good backs. I think we got the threat of a quarterback that can run, and our offensive lineman is intact. So I think all those things add up to giving you the opportunity to rush the ball effectively. And I think the 4-back deal is the main thing. It's just so hard to keep those guys healthy and fresh. You know, I mean, one of them pops a long run, you got to have somebody go in there and fill it up and going. We've got that. So that I think has been very beneficial. And then the threat of, going over the top with some guys like we have that can stretch the field also, helps create some runs.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Art, you talked about it a little bit, but first half struggles, do you have a handle on that, whether it's looking at film or just self-evaluation, why y'all have had maybe more struggles in the first half compared to the second half?
I think, to answer your question, I really don't have a hand on it. I think when you just look across the board from a, realistic standpoint, national standpoint, statewide standpoint, high school, college, NFL, whatever you're looking at, I think it's tough when people are always giving you your best shots, and that's what gives you a chance to really become a really good football team, and that's the way we look at it. So, we have to understand, and it's something that I haven't done a good job with this year. I did a little better last year, I think, of really making sure that we're still the hunter, and that we're still hungry and we're still determined, and we still keep our edge, and I think I've lost my edge a little bit, quite honestly, and it's something that I don't want to happen. I'm not standing here because I was edgeless. I'm standing here because I had an edge about me for a long time as a person and as a coach. And I don't want to lose that, and I'm not going to let somebody take it away from me. So I've got to do a better job of us staying with our mentality to get us to the point where we're at. Baylor has not always been at this point. You should know as well as anybody. Dave Campbell knows. We're at a point now where people are not happy where we're at. I'm happy where we're at, but some other people are not. So we've got to make sure we understand how we're perceived from people outside this building. And they're not real excited that Baylor's done what they've done the last couple of years, so they're trying really hard to beat us. And so we've got to do a better job of matching the energy and the mentality and the edge that people bring to us. And that's all on me. 100%. It is my responsibility to make sure our football team, has that edge. And that's something that I've worked on over the last, 8 to 10 days. Is becoming me again.
Coach John Morris, Baylor Radio. To follow that up, what do you do? How do you get that back to your satisfaction, to get the edge back?
I was thinking I was doing a pretty good job, but that's a good question. I don't know. If I knew that, I would have never lost it. I don't know. Everything starts mentally. It's all mentality. Your mind controls your body. Your thoughts control your actions. So. It's just all mental, and it's you got to be careful and be guarded about having a minimal amount of success, and we've had a small amount, and so anytime you think everything's okay and everything's good, it's not, so you got to really be careful that you never become, as bad as I hate to say it, satisfied, because if you get happy, you get beat. Happy teams get beat. I've learned that a long time ago, and if you're happy, you're going to get beat. Because somebody unhappy is going to take you down. So, we got to make sure that we maintain an unhappiness about us and a hunger about us, and that's like I said, that's my responsibility, 100%.
Sean Giggy, News 10 Sports. Coach, there was just a report that said Coach Levy was on the sideline at the OU Tulsa game. Were you aware of that, and is there going to be anything done in house to address that?
To answer your first question, I was not aware. Sadly so. If I had been aware, that situation would have never happened. When I found out, we alerted all the proper officials, both sides, here and I actually called Coach Stoops after the game Saturday and, told him that, I was sorry that we had a guy on their sideline. And it's embarrassing to me, quite honestly. To me, it's there's not an advantage, first and foremost, in today's world. We get every film they've ever got, and they get every film we've ever got. So as far as scouting advantage, there's, you're at a disadvantage standing on the sideline. And I don't think he was there that long, maybe a quarter. I'm not even sure. But it's unfortunate. I hate it for the perception standpoint, but anybody that knows football knows that it's, it's like, if they want to have somebody come stand on our sideline, that's all right, because there is no advantage to doing it. But it's something that I was not aware of.
Steve Cook, Sikkim Sports.
Somebody help me. Injuries, Devin pulled a little bit of a ham against Lamar. I think he's, probable at best for this weekend. Taylor Young should be back. That'll help us, spark us defensively a little bit. He's a great leader, great inspirer. He's a guy that really makes plays instinctively. And I think that's about it, really. I mean, somebody help me, but I think we've been, very, very fortunate up to this point. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Steve Cook, Sikkim Sports. Coach, any thoughts given to Chris Johnson maybe moving to tight end?
Yeah, Steve, you kind of own it, aren't you? Huh? But no, there has been a lot of thoughts to it, and I think you quite possibly could see him lined up there this weekend in a couple of formations. So appreciate you. That's good. That's good. Well, we bugged in the offices in there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but could be.
Coach Tim O'Donnell, Channel 25 Sports. Going back to Coach Levy, will there be any discipline on your part?
No, not on my part. No. I mean, we'll check with compliance and see, how it's dealt with. It's a very talking to Chad Jackson, our compliance director. It's very uncommon. It's not a lot of examples to go by, because it's just kind of an unwritten rule. And guys my age apparently know it. Younger people apparently don't. So I mean, that's his alma mater, and he was up there at the wedding. I thought he probably thought it was okay to go lounge around and see Coach Montgomery and those guys on the sideline for a few minutes, but it's not. It's, like I said, in my opinion, it's unethical.
Yeah, toward that consistency you were talking about, the turnovers, particularly the picks, how much of that is just a learning process, or is Seth maybe trying to squeeze a few things in there that maybe he shouldn't?
I think it's a combination of both, and I think it goes to what we, felt like going into the season that we would have to find out about each other, especially at that position. I mean, anybody that's got a really good football team has one thing in common. And I think everybody in this room could answer that question. What's the common denominator of a really good football team and winning? Most of the time it's QB. So we have to really understand him better. And I think as we get the snaps, we'll become a little more, understanding of each other. But it's a fine line you walk. I mean, the last thing I want to do is have a guy fearful. I want him to be fearless, and I want him to, to play and worry about the next down when it gets there. So it's a real fine line you got to walk with the QB that has that instinctive ability that he has. Some of them don't have it, some do. He does, and so I've got to learn how to, equal that out to where he's not being detrimental to our football team.
Coach, you talked about Coach Bailiff and Rice. What's the biggest challenge with Rice coming in this week?
They're good. They're just a really good football team. I mean, when you look at it from a realistic standpoint, like I mentioned, the way they've done the last 4 or 5 years, they got good schemes. Larry Edmondson's OC. He's done a great job. Schematically, they're very good both sides of the ball. David's been a great defensive coach forever. And they just got a lot of confidence. Their kids are sharp. They know what they're doing, and they're not out of position. And they're just a really good football team. And there's a reason he's been there 9 years, and they've been fortunate to keep him 9 years. It's not like he's been retained. I mean, they're fortunate to have him, and so that's the most important thing. He's a really, really good football coach that's done a really, really good job in an environment that prior to that, if you check the stats and the records, really hadn't been that way with consistency that he's had. They'd have a year or two here or there, but he's done it over a period of time, and that's what's impressive.
Coach, you guys now own the longest home win streak in the nation. You've yet to lose in McLean. How big is that? How big of an advantage is that, playing in Waco and playing here at home for you guys?
Say that first part again, because honestly, I didn't know that. We
you guys
really
own
do.
the longest home win streak in the nation now. Alabama losing. You guys were tied with Alabama, and they lost, and you guys now
They were tied with us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I did not know that. What's it at, like 16, 17? Huh? 17. It sounds like a lot. It's really not that many. It's about a 4-year period probably, or 5. It depends on how many home games you got. But you know, I can remember the last one that wasn't a win quite easily, you know, and so that's, I mean, when you coach, you usually remember the bad, not the good, but that's a good thing. I mean, that's impressive. I think it says a lot about, you know, who we are as a fan base, how we play as a team, and how we protect our turf, you know. So that's all good. But, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of teams that, you know, 15, 16 right in there. I mean, it's, you know, maybe a few. But it's just, I think that just shows you how hard it is just to continually win. And you mentioned Alabama, and that's what I was alluding to earlier about, you know, being able to match the intensity that everybody's going to bring at you.
Coach, in regard to Armstead being dismissed,
Yeah.
do you have any comment on that, and how might that, I guess, change? I know we talked about Chris kind of maybe seeing some time there, but how else?
Yeah, I mean, no comment on that as far as what it does to us as a football team. You know, I mean, that's why you got 85 scholarships. You know, we got guys that can play. We feel really good about people at that position. Gus is a guy that's, you know, a college graduate, very athletic, very skilled. Honestly, has not been on the field as much, you know, the first couple of games that I feel like he can help us with. He's really a guy that can bring a little something different to the table. He's about 6'5.5", 251. He's got, you know, good hands, thinks fast. So I'm excited about him having opportunities. And then, of course, the big guy. You know, I mean, I don't know how long, you know, I can carry him. You know, now it's time for him to kind of carry himself, you know, and that's, you know, once again, that's on me and it's on us. I mean, we got to make him produce a little more than what he's done, and you know this opportunity is there, and then we'll, like I said, we'll flirt with some other things, that possibilities that we have.
Or you talk about the running backs, each bringing something different. What does Shock bring, and can you talk about his durability that he's had up to this point too?
Well, I mean, durability is the number one thing. You know, I mean, that guy's had a bunch of carries over the last 3 years. He may have the most yards ever by a Baylor back. I don't know. I know he's had over 200 3 times, but, you know, he's had some big games for us. And, you know, the main thing he brings is just, in my opinion, is just inspiration. He's a very inspiring player. You know, when you get Shock, you get what he's got. And, you know, he's a smart guy that just plays with every ounce of energy and talent that he has. And he's got a lot of talent. He's got real quick feet. He's got great balance and keeps a low center of gravity. It's good, really good back.
Art, you'll have Kendall and Tate back. How good will that be? I guess it's hard to argue 785 yards total offense last time, but still having them back.
It's just, you know, it'll be good. It's more eyes on the field, more eyes on guys, and you know, just I don't, you know, if Uncle Jeb always sits in the left corner seat, you know, and you have 2 Thanksgiving dinners and he's not there, you're kind of looking around for him, you know, and that was kind of the situation, you know. Those guys kind of get used to coaches being a certain place and hearing certain things from them, and you know, Uncle Jeb wasn't there, but you know, he got a ride to this game, so we'll be in good shape. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.